by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Santa Clarita Hearing Center. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Gene Dorio.
On your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our guest this morning is the one and only Dr. Thomas Polucki.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Dr. Dorio. Good to be here.
Doctor of chiropractic.
Among other things.
Lots of other things. How are you doing this morning?
Awesome. And you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How about you, Dr. Dorio?
Oh, as usual, doing the same. How is your recovery from having your vaccination, Barbara?
I got it last Thursday morning, and I got home, and I was lightheaded. I finally started walking around with the walker so that I wouldn't fall, and that continued on into Friday, and by Saturday morning, I was fine, like nothing had happened. But that was the only response I had, was being lightheaded.
Wow, that is, I think that's tremendous. I mean, it's certainly in exchange of having the total symptoms of COVID-19. That was pretty minuscule.
Well, that's what I've been told, because they gave me this paper when I left of possible side effects. And some of them were horrific.
Oh, yeah.
Diarrhea was one of them, and throwing up was another one. And I'm thinking, criminy, muscular, bones hurting. And I'm thinking, holy cow, I'm lucky.
Criminy.
Yeah,
criminy is right.
Most people, I don't think, are getting a lot of symptoms, fortunately, but everybody is different in response to this vaccination. So, that was your second vaccination. How did your first one go?
Oh, I didn't even realize I had a shot. My arm was not sore on either time.
But it just kind of says that your body, with the second shot, your body from the first shot had responded. So that's good. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad it's over and done with.
Yay. Well, we might have to get other vaccines as we go here, but this is just the first start toward herd immunity and trying to diminish the amount of virus in our community.
Well, the thing I'm looking forward to is not having to wear these idiotic masks.
Well, I think Barbara, I think just to be safe, the amount of virus that is out there, this will be one of the ways that we'll have to continue doing this. But, at certain times it will probably be less, but, it's important that we adhere until the numbers get better. And, the hardest part, as both of you know, that the hospitals have been inundated, and it puts into jeopardy the overall care that we can give. And, we have patients that continue to have problems related to congestive heart failure, strokes, cancer, things like that. And, getting back to being able to handle those, I think, will help us all in the long run. So we have to work real hard to minimize the effect that COVID is having on us.
Yes,
How about you, Dr. Polucki? Any thoughts on that?
I reserve the right to
remain silent.
Abstain from this conversation. I'm more concerned about what I can help people with, and I'd like to focus on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
So have at it, kid.
Awesome. So today I want to talk about a thing that I'm developing specifically because of the COVID crisis. We saw a major disruption in the entire healthcare system on the horizon many years ago. And I believe that COVID has just really pushed us into that emergency mode of totally rethinking the way that the healthcare system operates. We got caught totally unprepared, and even after a year, and with a vaccine available, we're still struggling with trying to get some kind of normal back into our lives. So
absolutely,
that we kind of knew something like this was on the horizon for a really long time. We just didn't know what it was or how it was going to manifest or
and when it would get
or
here.
when it would get here. So a lot of people, specifically my type of practitioner, were looking at, okay, how do we fill the gaps that is not being handled by conventional medicine, regardless of what the threat eventually shows up to be. How are we going to handle this? So we started telehealth, telemedicine, and I've been promoting it on your show now for 10 years or more, about functional medicine being administered without ever physically seeing a patient.
Right.
Sending off the labs, teaching people how to do tests at home for themselves, and then administering a appropriate protocol based on whatever those results may be, and doing that essentially virtually without ever seeing a patient. Now it's considered commonplace. Now it's embraced by conventional medicine. But for the past 10 years, whenever I brought it up, people would look at me sideways like, what are you talking about? You can't treat a patient without actually seeing them. And I do all the time. In fact, I'm medical director to over 300 functional medicine practitioners in America. I review thousands of lab results and make sure that these people are put on the right protocols, and they get amazing results. But today I want to talk about one particular aspect that affects everybody. Everybody at some point in their life is going to have a level of pain that needs some professional help. Some people, it will be in their back. Some people, it will be in their shoulder. Some people, it'll be in their knees. Some people, it'll be migraines or something like that. And there are many things that can precipitate that. A car accident, a fall, or something that they're not aware of. They just bend over to pick something up, and with no prior history, all of a sudden they're in excruciating pain that they literally spend days on the floor trying to deal with it, and then they realize that, well, this is not going to go away on itself. And there are certainly options out there, medication being the go-to for the overwhelming majority of the population. However, pain medications, anti-inflammatories, muscle relaxers, which are commonplace in general practice, have come under quite a bit of scrutiny as far as their efficacy in dealing with mechanical back pain. And it makes a lot of sense that if there is something like a sprain or a strain, a drug is only going to have a minimal effect on that outcome. It may temporarily reduce the pain, it may temporarily reduce the inflammation. However, if there is a functional problem, think of in terms of a broken bone. Imagine you broke your leg. Now, certainly, you could take enough drugs to forget about your broken leg. However, it really helps a lot to set that broken bone, to put that bone back in place, give it a little bit of care over the healing period in order for it to heal properly, so that you're not just covering up the pain and you're actually getting to the real injury. The same thing with a joint. However, joints are much more complicated than bones. Joints, once they're injured, they are never 100% better. And a lot of people don't want to believe that, but it's unfortunately a fact. You break a bone, and if you don't have a disease that doesn't allow that bone to heal, like most people don't, but if you break a bone, in 6 to 12 weeks, you've got a totally new bone. It's not that fracture healed. It's that the bone is not the same bone that you broke. It's totally replaced. Now, joints are not like that. once you injure the structures of a joint, the connective tissues of a joint, and the joint surfaces themselves, the best you can ever hope for under ideal circumstances, and that's what I want to talk about today, is how do we set up the ideal circumstances for joint repair, because that injured joint is never just an injured joint. It affects the nerves involved, it affects the muscles involved, and it sets up a feedback loop that actually triggers the emergency response the whole time. As long as that joint is injured and not healed properly, it is sending emergency information to the brain that the brain always has to be diverted from dealing with everything else. So how do you set up the ideal circumstance for any injury to repair? And this is something that, as good as pain relief medication is at reducing symptoms, never touches. So this is the piece of the puzzle that so many people who deal with recurring pain, whether it be a headache, whether it be a shoulder pain, whether it be a knee pain, whether it be a back pain, this is the piece of the puzzle that is missing for those people. And I've put together an entire program, a step-by-step process that doesn't even require most people to ever even come to my office. Now, there is a small group of people who these steps, as good as they are, as important they are to the healing and the recovery process, a small group of people are actually going to need some kind of physical treatment on that injury itself. So how the big rub, because we've been doing functional medicine over the internet for a decade, but the challenge was, how do you do something like a joint mobilization online? How do you do what some people call an adjustment? However, we never do the twisting and cracking stuff in my office.
No,
Barbara,
you don't.
you know.
Absolutely do not. Thank goodness.
You tried that somewhere else for years, and it didn't
Never
really
worked.
Well,
it did to a degree.
It didn't give you the result you were looking
That's
for, and
right.
so many people feel the same way. Yeah, you know, I'm not here to bash anybody. I think it's a great tool, but it doesn't help a heck of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So you were one of those people, and we shifted gears on you, and you responded immediately to a bunch of stuff. So
yeah, especially after the automobile accident.
Yeah. So why don't you jump in and share a little bit about that?
Well, it's interesting because I was sideswiped. A truck ran right into the driver's side door, ran a red light, and my husband and I, we were in the intersection, and it just jammed into us. And both of us were extremely jerked, as you can well imagine.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of back pain from that, plus shoulder pain that went down my left side. And I went in to see Dr. Polucki. Of course, I was seeing him anyway on a, every once in a while basis, but not on a regular basis. And after the accident, I went in to see him on a regular basis, and it was amazing how much better I felt after being treated, and not with the twisting and turning. It was a couple of machines, massage items that really helped a great deal.
Yeah.
Plus, you didn't twist and turn, you pushed and maneuvered my back when I was lying on my stomach on that bed in your office, and I could hear myself cracking like, holy cow, I'm going to fall apart, But it worked. And then after that type of procedure was done, then you used the machine, what do you call them? The hand, whatever they are.
We've done a lot of different treatments on you, so if you can be a little bit more precise, I'll be able to fill in the gaps.
Well, the massaging that goes up and down my back that you use with the machine. We tried the thumping one, which, in my opinion, hurt. but the other one didn't, the massaging one.
Right. Okay, so there are several different ways to get the joints to start behaving in a healing way instead of in a constant state of re-injury. One of the points that I want to touch base on that you mentioned is that we don't twist or crack anybody ever,
No.
which is unfortunately the biggest hurdle that I have. As soon as I say the word chiropractor, most people have a very set opinion about that.
That's right.
But here, I'd just like to clear that up before we go further about what really worked for you. I have over 9,000 hours of health science education. Now, bear in mind, that's twice that of a medical doctor. The medical degree requires 4,000 and something like 4,400 hours in order to get the Doctor of Medicine, the MD. And I have more than twice that. So the idea that the public doesn't even think that. The public thinks that a lot of chiropractors just take a weekend seminar and then they go into practice. That is not the case. I've taught at 2 universities as well. So, and then on top of that, I have 2 certifications in functional medicine postgraduate. So this is not just like some fad or some gimmick or some catch. When we work with people, we often help people that could not be helped by world-renowned specialists. And your case was quite serious. You had to be extracted from that car with the jaws of life, like Tiger Woods. But we didn't have to perform surgery on you. We didn't have to put you on pain medication and anti-inflammatories and all of that. We just treated you physically. And as you said, we went through a couple of different options for you to see which you were going to respond best to, which is, I believe, always the best approach. I don't have one thing that has to work for everybody. We have several different therapies. And that is the process of figuring out the art of what I call good medicine, regardless of whether you do it with pharmacology, whether you do it with vaccination, whether you do it with a physical therapy or not. There is good medicine and there is bad medicine in all of that. And I believe the good medicine is when you figure out what's best for that person, not what insurance is going to cover, or you can make the most amount of profit on, or it's going to be the easiest sale to that patient. That's something else. I don't believe that's good medicine. And I don't believe in constantly scaring people in order to make more money off of them or to promote some kind of an agenda. That's not what I got into being a doctor for. So when a patient comes to me, rarely am I the first person they've ever seen for a problem. They've usually tried to deal with it on their own at home. Then if they did seek some professional help, it typically wasn't a chiropractor at first. It might have been their general practitioner, or maybe a massage therapist, or maybe they got referred for physical therapy. In many cases, I see people after they've been through all of that and maybe even had a surgery or 2 and still had their problem. Mm-hmm. So we had to come up with what is the missing link? Why, as good as all of that stuff is, why is it not working for this person? Now, the good part with you was that we already had been working with you.
That's true.
I knew your body. I knew how things worked. I just didn't know how bad this injury is. And when we get back from the break, I want to talk a little bit about how we go through that process, because there's some disturbing misinformation out there about the efficacy of and the diagnostic quality of some of the standard tests out there in trauma medicine. And it's just a a place where so many people don't get the help they need, and what we've done to fill in those gaps. And you are a walking testimonial for that. So I want to touch on that when we get back.
Very good. We need to take a break now. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
When a person is diagnosed with a life-limiting illness, the patient and family may become overwhelmed with planning, emotions, questions, and fear. The Traditions Health Hour provides information and guidance to help them navigate through their end-of-life journey. Their goal is to help patients have the best quality of life possible while receiving the care they need in the place they want to be, home. Get your questions answered during the Traditions Health Hour, Wednesdays at noon, right here on KHTS, and live on Facebook at KHTS Radio.
This is Jerry Strati Goldman, owner here at KHTS Radio. I've been using Plumbing by Kirk for years, both personally and here at the station. From small issues like toilets running and clogged sinks to much bigger issues, Kirk Stinson has always been here for me. There's no one I trust more with my plumbing problems than Kirk and his team. Quick, reliable, and very reasonable prices. Call now for estimates on new drain installations, old drain replacements, and water heaters. 263-6519 or log on to plumbingbyKirk.com.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com, located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking with our guest this morning, Dr. Thomas Polucki, who is a doctor of chiropractic, plus many other things. And that's what we're talking about now. So let's continue this very interesting conversation.
So just on the other side of the break, we were talking about your pretty significant car accident, extracted from the car with the jaws of the life, very bad situation. And without getting into too many details, without having to have surgery or be on prolonged periods of pain medication, we turned that around for you significantly.
Oh, yes. I was not on any pain medication, but I was in a lot of pain.
Right. So the most common thing that people in that kind of an accident, because that was serious, that wasn't a fender bender.
No,
that was you had to be removed from the car with the jaws of life, and most people would have gone to the emergency room and been completely evaluated, and maybe have even had to stay overnight in the hospital doing several tests. But I'd like to talk about that, to that point a little bit, because most people think that, well, if those tests say that everything's okay, then it's just a couple of weeks of discomfort and then I'll resume my normal activities. And so many people do not get the result that they really need when they believe that, because the emergencies room job is to see, is there an immediate life-threatening injury? Is there a bleed in the brain that we need to immediately address? Is there internal trauma somewhere else that this person will die if they don't have immediate emergency surgery on? And once they rule out those things, then they go into is there a broken bone? Is there some kind of fracture that needs some kind of orthopedic referral in order to deal with? If those boxes are checked off, they tell the patient that, okay, you're fine. This is just a soft tissue injury. We're going to give you a prescription for some pain management, and everything's going to be okay. This is where the system fails so many people, because that is not an accurate assessment. it is true that there is not an immediate life-threatening situation. It is true that there are no broken bones that need to be either surgically or manually reset to promote healing. But however, it is not true that just because those two things don't exist, everything's going to be fine. And so many people want to believe that, okay, the doctor said it's fine, I'm going to be fine, that most people don't even challenge that assessment until months and sometimes even years later, they have a problem that won't go away no matter what. And we see that way too often. I see people that have been in therapy, in very expensive physical therapy that somehow, some way, is covered by insurance. And I'm not sure how that happens, not after 12 weeks, which is usually, 2 rounds, but in some cases, 12 months. Like, how'd they get that approved? Like, how does that even happen? But anyway, after 12 months of therapy, they're like, well, I'm better than I was. I'm like, wait a second. How much better? And why are you still in daily, 6 out of 10 pain being managed with therapy and pharmaceuticals?
Well, it's interesting. My treatment by you literally saved my life. And I think had Russ come to you, well, he did come to you, but he refused the treatment.
Yeah.
And I think that was obvious. That was ultimately caused his demise finally.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Because he was hurt. He had back problems and sidearm and leg problems, and it diminished after a while, but then it came back.
Yeah.
And he was homebound. And of course, one thing led to another, as Dr. Dorio can tell. He finally ended up with pneumonia. And I think a lot of that was the fact that he had cardiopulmonary COPD.
Mm-hmm.
And but the lack of movement exacerbated that, in my opinion.
No, I don't think that's an opinion. I think that's a very accurate assessment.
I really think that's what happened with Russ. He refused treatment by you because he didn't believe in chiropractic.
That's okay. I face that all the time, and that's why we're talking today. This is not about a belief system in like some kind of religion or something. And I'm not a fan of conventional general chiropractic either. That's why we don't do the twisting and cracking. That's why I have twice the education that most chiropractors do. That's why I spent several years and countless thousands of dollars on postgraduate education, because I share the public's opinion of general chiropractic. I don't think it's the answer for most situations. Certainly not the answer for you or Russ. After being in that kind of an accident, I would never consider cranking your spine around until something popped and cracked on every visit for several months. I think
it would have made me worse.
Well, I don't think whether it made you worse or not, I don't think it would have helped you get better.
No.
And that's my point. So we find the right answer. And in your case, which is how I treat these types of injuries, it was more of a vibration than it was any kind of manipulation that was enough to get your spine start healing again properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we added some red light because you were having some neuropathy complications, not just from the accident, but from the chemotherapy that you had.
That's right.
And we added some electromagnetic therapy and some supplements and some diet recommendations. Mm-hmm. At first, you didn't like the diet so much. You were like, I'm not going to do this. I don't like it. And then, like a couple weeks later, you came back to me and said, they're delicious. Which is
That's right.
yeah. So it's not just one thing. It's never just one thing. Everybody wants a magic pill.
Oh, yes.
I mean, ask any drug dealer. I mean, the pain relief medication sells itself. You don't have to try to convince a person to get better. All you have to do is supply them that momentary relief, and most people are thrilled with that.
Well, the other thing that helped me were those vibrating foot pads, which I had to use them a few days ago. For some reason, my feet went crazy, and I got those pads out and put my feet on the pads and the vibration and using the red light. And after a couple of days, they're back to normal now.
Yeah, so I want to touch base on the vibrating pads that you're talking about, because most people have no idea. No idea. They're thinking that maybe it's some kind of vibrator or something like that. So what you're talking about is actually electromagnetic therapy. It is not an actual vibration. It is an electromagnetic field that causes your body to vibrate, which is an amazing new form of physical medicine that it's actually not so new. In 1980, it got FDA approved to heal broken bones in days instead of months. So it's been around for a while, and it is absolutely probably the most underrated therapy out there. It is amazing technology, and we have it in a home version, which is what you're talking about.
That's right. Well,
you can have this machine at your house.
Yes, and they're shaped like very large shoes that are flat, and you plug it in, and you flip the switch, and your feet are not vibrating, but there's a mild, I don't know what to call it other than a vibration, which it isn't a vibration.
It's okay. Your feet are vibrating, but it's not because this thing is shaking them.
No, that's
it's
what I'm
because
trying
of the
to say.
electromagnetic field that's being generated stimulates
Absolutely.
all the cells, but when it stimulates nerve and muscle cells, the only thing that they know how to do in that form of a stimulation is to fire. So all of a sudden, even though you're not intentionally moving, your muscles are moving.
That's right. That's right. It's a feeling of vibration.
Yeah.
It's not the actual jumping up and down
And
vibration.
this is, by the way, this is not a TENS unit, not a zapper that most people think of. When I show this to people initially, they're not interested because they think they've tried it. They think, oh, I tried that. I got conned into buying one of these ridiculously overpriced devices at some fair, some county fair, and I used it for about a week and it didn't do anything. That's what I commonly hear when I start educating people about this option for them, because if I feel it's someone like you who's going to benefit from it, I'm going to tell my patient, you need this. And then they're like, wait, no, I've already done that. I'm like, yeah, no, you haven't.
You haven't. Not like this.
Yeah, this is proprietary. This is a very unique technology that is still patented. So anybody claiming to use this technology that is not from this one specific device manufacturer, they don't stick around long because they get shut down because they're not the real thing. But still, I actually found one on Amazon, a competitor, and I looked at it because it was, less than 10% of what I can buy the device for. So I'm like, whoa, I got to check this out. So I got one and I put it on an oscilloscope because I'm a geek like that. And it's nothing like what it's supposed to be, because yours is a very unique device, and there's a reason that it's patented, and there's a reason that so many people are using the research from this device in order to promote their own protocols, which have nothing to do with it. There's actually a multi-level market device out there right now that I won't mention any names, but someone in town is selling a $600 a month membership to come in and get some red light therapy, to get the multi-level market version of this done, and another therapy, and they're promoting that for that. And
Good glory.
yeah.
These
So
people need to buy these.
yeah, you could buy it.
Yes, I bought mine.
You bought
Yeah.
yours.
And
Exactly
the-
is
and
what
the
I'm
red
saying.
light.
The thing is, the only reason I'm bringing that up, because, you know, I don't want to disparage anybody in this community, is that within a couple of months, you could own this equipment. You could be doing it on your own for free for the rest of your life. And that's the only point that I'm making. And it does work.
Yeah, it does.
It does work.
I can verify that it does, because it's worked twice for me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So and the key is that as good as any one therapy is, one therapy did not give you the result that you're looking for. It was a combination of what we do in the office, and more importantly, I believe, that it was backed up with what you're doing at home.
Exactly.
And that's why I created this option, this Pain Relief Secret. We are currently building out all of the infrastructure. Now, it's a lot. It's very complicated on my end to be able to duplicate this for someone at home, where they're totally guided through the process without ever walking through my door, including the exam process and the nutritional evaluation and the nutritional, shall we say, prescription, because this is not a fad diet. This is not a diet that's designed to lose weight or anything. This is a personal prescription for nutrition that is uniquely designed to target that individual's needs. And by the way, you wound up liking that, right?
Oh, yes.
Not initially. You didn't want it.
I
You didn't want it, and then you came back and you said, well, I'm still getting it, but, you know, I kind of like it.
That's right.
So
That's right.
there's the nutritional part of it, and then there's the home exercise part of it, too. And we packaged it all together, and it's quite a bit putting this on an easy access platform, but I'm working around the clock to make that happen for people. Anybody who wants this in their life, and maybe they never want to go to a chiropractor, I don't blame them.
Not a regular chiropractor.
But this is something that anybody who's dealing with any form of chronic pain, regardless, anytime that you have to be on any form of medication, even over-the-counter medication, for some pain that you're dealing with on an ongoing basis, is going to benefit from this.
Yes.
And we are taking advanced orders. Just shoot me an email at help at the @sign, and it's my name abbreviated, DRPOLUCKI.com, help at drpolucki.com. We'll take your order, and as soon as that is as easy access as possible, we'll send you an invitation.
You got that, Dr. Dorio?
Got it. I can even see it on the YouTube, or Facebook, I should say.
Oh, are you on
It's,
you watch
right.
it? You're on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm on actually Facebook, and I can see help at Dr. Polucki. That's DRPOLUCKI.com.
Yes.
So it's right here in front of you on Facebook.
Yeah. You people in Facebook, I tell you. Anyway, we need to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS.
Who says nothing good happens after midnight? Denny's is best known for their breakfast served round the clock, like the Grand Slam. But you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a casual atmosphere 24/7. At Denny's, the lunch and dinner menu has a variety of appetizers, craveable burgers, salads, and entrees, along with the best desserts in town. Wherever you live in Santa Clarita, there's a Denny's close by. If you're pulling an all-nighter or don't feel like cooking, get into Denny's today. Good stuff is happening at Denny's.
Why did Mercedes-Benz of Valencia win the Dealer of Excellence Award in 2019?
Because we strive to provide the most outstanding sales experience.
Mercedes-Benz of Valencia COO Chris Paz.
We know you have high expectations. Our stellar team will meet and exceed your expectations. That's why we were named Mercedes Best of the Best, placing us in the top 10% of all Mercedes dealers nationwide.
Find out how you can lease a new Mercedes for unbelievably low monthly payments. Details at mbzvalencia.com.
You worry because your mom and dad aren't as active and are finding it more challenging to live on their own. The answer? Premier Assisted Living Community, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, now leasing. Located on Newhall Ranch Road, Oakmont of Santa Clarita, bringing comfort and luxury to assisted living. Your parents can enjoy 5-star amenities and panoramic views in a world-class community. No other assisted living community has this kind of luxury and amenities in our valley. Visit oakmontofsantaclarita.com.
Great healthcare just got easier and more convenient in Canyon Country. Facey Canyon Country is now open directly off the Soledad Canyon exit off the 14 freeway. The 37,000 square foot clinic houses Facey Medical Group primary care physicians, pediatricians, and specialists. Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com. Located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
It's like no other station I've ever listened to. It's great.
Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And we're talking with Dr. Thomas Polucki, Doctor of Chiropractic, and others.
And others.
And others.
And others.
Yeah. So
how many more initials do you have after your name?
Oh, I don't play that game.
You don't.
No.
No. I legally have to disclaim that I am a doctor of chiropractic.
In the traditional sense.
Yeah. Well, no, in the legal sense.
In the
so
legal, really?
If I don't tell people that I am a doctor of chiropractic, many people will assume that I am practicing medicine without a license. So there's that. So we have to get that out of the way. And unfortunately, as a lot of people do like chiropractic, but an overwhelming majority of people do not.
Do not.
And I gave up trying to defend that a long time ago because every point of fear and anxiety when you hear the word of chiropractic, I'm like that too. I don't like spiders. You know, I mean, I don't like the idea of somebody grabbing my head and cranking it around until multiple areas of my body make very loud and scary noises. I don't think that is a great idea. Now, I know some people love it, and I know I'm going to get some hate, especially from the probably 50 some odd chiropractors in this town. I don't care. I don't like that. And I believe that nearly 80% of the American population doesn't like that either. So I'm not here to try to steal other chiropractors' patients. I'm here to try to help the 80% of the population that would never consider going to a chiropractor. And the biggest obstacle I have to face is that fear of, well, this guy isn't even a real doctor, and he's going to, his whole idea about fixing every problem under the sun is going to involve me having my spine wrenched around until it makes, you know, a 4th of July fireworks display noise. So I'm not interested in any of that. And that's the biggest thing. That's why I come on this show, because, you know, you say the word chiropractor and people have that visual image, you know, from those viral videos on YouTube. And it's, you know, that's just, I know people will slow down to watch a car accident, but they don't necessarily want to be in a car accident.
No.
And these social media platforms that promote this extreme version makes other chiropractors believe, well, they're so successful, maybe I have to do more of it that way. And I don't think that is good science or good medicine. I think your only goal as any kind of a doctor is to help your patient as much as possible, minimize anything that could potentially hurt your patient, and more importantly than any of that is pay a heck of a lot of attention to how your patient is responding. And I think that is across the board. That is the definition of good medicine. Ask the right questions, do the right evaluation, and more important than anything else, pay attention to whether it's working or not.
Mm-hmm. And delivering quality of life to especially older adults, seniors in our community is our ultimate goal.
Absolutely.
And when we've seen in the past the traditional medicine work in a cookbook way, leading sometimes those people looking for the magic pill to addiction, to the opioid crises. People have to understand there are alternatives to that kind of medicine as well. And when you don't have an open mind to it, for whatever percentage it is, it's sad because, you know, I believe in acupuncture. I believe in acupressure. I believe in herbal medicine. You know, I believe in chiropractic medicine. All of these have a place, and people have to understand you need to have options, because the option where I am in classic medicine sometimes leads to a dysfunction. And when you have choices, I think you can then deliver and lead your patients to the quality of life that they need. So I'm just happy, Dr. Polucki, we have you on board.
Thank you.
Here to discuss the issues surrounding any controversy that might be there. But I think it's important that we keep you in mind and not ignore the value that you bring to the community. How do people get a hold of you?
Well, it's right up here for the people on Facebook. For people who are listening, it is help at the @ So it's help at drpolucki.com. That's the shortest abbreviation of how to get to me, help at drpolucki.com. Just shoot an email, and we will put you on the list of our pain relief secret.
Great. Well, I appreciate your being on the show. Appreciate your being in the community, and thank you very much for helping our co-host Barbara Cochran out in all those days after the jaws of life. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers In-Home Care, Santa Clarita Hearing Center, and Traditions Home Health and Hospice Care. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.